Um, Glass photography as such is a huge topic, so that's why I picked up one part of it called how to photograph glass bottle, because I've seen a lot of product photography where people use glass bottles and they try to do a very shoddy job trying to photograph glass bottle. It is not at all tough, but there are a lot of people who have spent years together trying to uh, master how to shoot glass. So first I'll show you a few examples, the good ones, the bad ones, how to get a good from the bad. These are some of the photographs which have been shot during my online workshop. They are not processed, except the final version which is processed. But most of them are raw, just taken. I've just taken it from the Lightroom and just assembled it. Uh, I will explain how I took it, and obviously you will all have questions. You ask me questions, and then in the end, what I'll do is I'll give you a theory how to photograph glass. Uh, there are two type of photography methods: bright field and dark field methods. So both of that I'll cover. Many of you might know it. So let's start photographing glass. Now, when you see a photograph something like this doesn't impress at all. Okay, this was the Heineken beer in one of my very early workshops. This is the first photograph before I started, and I asked them, I'll put two soft boxes. There was a soft box here and there was soft box there on both sides, and asked them, how does it look? And since most of them didn't know anything about product photography, they said, "Wow!" But if anybody sees this particular photograph and thinks that it's wow, they're absolutely not sure of exactly what's happening, because if you present this as a product, nobody will like to drink this beer, because as of now we can only see the bottle and not the beer. Now, before I put a softbox, I also changed the softbox position this side, that side, and you might have noticed. See, it changed. What has happened is the shape of the bottle has changed, and that is where the trick comes. Exactly how you want to present the bottle. Uh, Beer bottles, as such, have very nice feminine curves. You know why? Most men try to drink beer, it seems, and that's why uh, the curves are made very feminine. And in fact, a duty of a product photographer is to highlight those curves. But the problem everybody faces now, I can't see the beer here. Okay, so what should we do? You have to really light the beer from back. What here, what you're seeing is a large soft box on the back, and then the glass, when you light it without any dark areas, what really happens is the edge definition of the glass disappears. So you won't be able to see the edge of the glass. So that's why these black flags come. These are basically black plastic pieces which are brought closer. And as we bring closer, the darkness increases. As we take it away, the darkness decreases. Now, that black gives that black edge for the bottle. And that's very important. So as of now, I'm not talking about any theory, but in the later, when we are talking about the theory, we'll know why that black particular thing really comes in. Now, this is the final picture, or near final picture of the arrangement. And this is after everything. Now, a bottle of beer which is not cold doesn't feel nice. So you can also make it look cold. We don't keep it in the fridge. What we really do is 50% of glycerin and 50% of water when we mix and spray it on top, you get this particular result. But the problem what happens is, I can say that this is a fake uh, spray. From this, I sprayed it, nice droplets will stop. But what really happens is, if you keep a bottle in the freezer or in the cold fridge and take it out, you have droplets only till the level of the beer, not above that. So this is one area where you get tricked. So this has to be removed either during post processing, and in fact this requires a post processing, because what has happened here is the label has a golden circle here. I'll explain you how to get those golden circles and everything. So this golden circle, we didn't get it while shooting the picture. So that's how I shot the that bottle. Uh, Now this is another example. This is a finished product. Now you can have multiple lights or you can have single light and still manage to get everything. When you have a single light, what you do is you put it on an acrylic sheet and then shoot. You have to have a background. In this case, the background has been replaced. It's not the natural background. The natural background will look something like this. But if it is a background which is replaced, you will see that it's seamless. There is no break between where the acrylic sheet ends and the screen starts. That is because I've erased that particular line where the sheet ends. You can also do without having to go through all those post-processing tricks. If you have a seamless paper, you can keep a seamless paper. I'll show you the example later. And you can get without having that particular problem. And in this case, this was a very complicated bottle because this was shiny and this had a shiny feature, and then the neck was different, and this light, this was coppery color, and then there was one more logo here which was again wrapped around. So for this, I had to take about 7 different shots: one for the top, one for the neck, one for this shoulder, one for the front, and one for this logo, and combine all of them. And the trick is, make sure that your bottle doesn't move at all. So the bottle should always be stationary and your camera is always also stationary. All you change is the lighting. So you put one lighting for the top, one lighting for the neck, one lighting for the shoulder, one lighting for the front, and one lighting for the side. I'll explain you how to do those lightings later in the show. This is also another one where the importance is to show that that there is a curve in this. You can take a shot straight from the front, but that won't show you this particular shoulder. Whereas when we go for the glasses like this, what happens is the edge of the glass has to be defined and top of the glass has to be defined. This I get the name. I forget the name of this. Forget it. So anyway, this limb also needs to be highlighted. Otherwise, it gets totally merged in the background. So this was a workshop I did in Bangalore. I think Shrikant Kamath will remember this. So this was our initial shot. So we took a photograph of the glass. We took the photograph of the bottle. And initially, we wanted to give that very dreamy look on the curve. So for that, we were using a very large softbox, which basically put that particular curve. And then the problem was, when we put this particular amount of light, the label went totally haywire because label also got all that particular glass. Then we sprayed water and then we took the photograph. So this is how the label was. You can see the difference, the lighting, how changes the label. So from this label, it became this label. So this is how we changed the label, again by the lighting only. And we sprayed it here. And one thing you can do to avoid label getting soggy is to paint it with a varnish spray. So when you spray varnish on the paper, so that will preserve the paper. Otherwise, when you spray the glycerin and water, the label will start getting soggy, and some of the label might even drop down. So it's better to first spray with the varnish, and then you do a spray of glycerin and water. And you know how we got this? This is not a part of this. So this was really short as a part of this. So this was a bottle which was poured, and then I removed the bottle and the pouring, and then I created this. So this is just a montage with a composite with another bottle. The initial glass was just this part. That's all. So we had the bottle, and then we opened the bottle, and then we poured it, and then we finished the bottle. So now I'll show you, because what had happened is most of the workshop photographs I had not documented each and every step. So I thought I'll do one step by step and show you the result, something like this. So this is the final result of a Smirnoff bottle. Okay, and how I got there was, we start off with the stand. This is plain light stand. On top of that, there is a small plate which has got a hole which will fit into the light stand's bottom. So on top of that, put an acrylic sheet, and then put the bottle. Okay, and make sure that the bottle is exactly straight, because once you start shooting, you won't be able to adjust it to your liking. So you have to get the angle, everything exactly as you want in the final results. So your camera is on a tripod, and probably you can use a remote shutter to trigger the camera. So that way you don't have to each time go to the camera to click the photograph. So this, I was using a remote infrared trigger to shoot the photograph. So now on the background, I have a white sheet of plastic. It's a company called Savage they call it. They make this white plastic. It's a translucent plastic. It's a neutral color translucent plastic. You can also get any white screen. That's perfectly fine. You can also use those 5-in-1 boards which are large. The center silky material, translucent one, that is also fine. So any material which is large, or if you have a soft box, that also is fine. Behind this is a normal flash which is placed in such a way, this is the initial test. So the flash is too close to the sheet. Then you take it back so that it becomes wider. So you have to take it back until all your letterings from the top to bottom, including the bottom half, everything is visible. So that's how much back you have to take. So that is the brightest portion. Now remember, if it starts spilling more than your field of view, this is the field of view of my camera. I was using a 100 mm lens. So you first fix the field of view of the camera, and your light should end only at the field of view, not beyond that. Because if it starts spilling beyond the field of view, then that light also will start affecting your lens. So exactly how much what you are going to shoot, that much has to be filled by the light which is behind this sheet. So that's the sheet. And this is the acrylic sheet which is there, which basically gives the reflection. So this was the final effect. Now I'm concentrating on the glass portion. See, from here to here, not the lid. Lid is not a glass, it's basically a metal. So I'm using different settings to shoot that. Now in this case, I had only two flashes. I had one flash which is the V1, which is behind the screen, and then I have another handheld flash which is the 862. Both are Godox flashes. So the next flash, I just put it right on the top. Make sure that you don't touch the glass, and then shoot. So what really happens there is you get very bright light on the lid. So now lid is thrown and the background is by the other light. Now, when you put this flash, you also get a certain amount of spillover on this area. So the light, the writings on the bottle are visible. They're not actually bright enough because all the golden shiny part is not really visible because the light is coming from this angle. So when the light is hitting a label from this angle, you don't get that shiny label. So to avoid this particular light spilling on the back, what you have to do is you have to hold your flash with the dark sheet of paper. So hold a dark sheet of paper so that your light is not spilling towards the back. So basically what I'm doing is something like this. So this is the white sheet and this is the flash and this is putting the light. Okay. Take multiple shots. Then I want to highlight the neck of the bottle. So this neck of the bottle is not done from this one. So when I shoot like this is bare flash. So it is only going to highlight the lid and some amount of the front label. So what I did was I put a diffusion material. This is again a 5-in-1 diffusion material, and then put the same flash which I was holding earlier through this. So what that gave was a better neck definition. So this is the definition of the neck here. So now you can combine all of them. This is the top from the top flash. This is the neck from the other flash. And now I have to concentrate and to get the label. So how do you get the label? The trick is do this. What is this? This is just a sheet of paper, 2 sheets of paper which are clipped together, and then put it around the neck of the bottle. So only the label in front is being illuminated from all around. So it's like creating a soft box around the label. Let me show you how it is. This is how it is. So the same light which is coming from there and coming from the top is illuminating this one. But what that gives you is a fantastic bright shiny light, so that all that golden colored writing are now visible. So it is not 100% accurate because there is one small area which you will get missed. That you have to do it in post-processing. It's pretty easy. You just take a clone brush, clone it from here, and then clone this area, clone this area, clone the D here, clone the D here. That's all. You basically take a sample from this golden side and then do it in post-processing. So other than that, now you have got a sample for a beautiful lettering. So you have the lettering, you have the neck, you have the shoulder, and you have the bottle. So the final results, when you compose it in Photoshop, will be something like this. So this is the final overall result of this bottle. So if you don't have large amount of equipment, there are product photographers who use 4 or 5 lights and they try to do it. But if you have one single light, you can compose it in that way. But you have to get the overall concept right. So you are shooting one for the bottle, one for the background, and then one for the lid, one for the shoulder, and one for the writings. So that's the final thing. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat, or you can unmute and you can let me know. So if anybody wants to do the chat, you can ask questions now. Then I'll go to some more details in how do you shoot everything glass. So is there any chat questions?
Okay, that's a flash or okay, whatever.
Flash behind the white screen. That is the only one which was fixed. And I had one light in the hand, which was basically used for various other parts of the bottle. So basically you need 2 lights, that's all.
the
Yeah.
black sheet, or was that completely by the
You're
light?
talking about this
Yeah, yeah. I
this
mean, if you
black.
see the black shadow that is coming right there.
Yeah. No, this is done in post processing.
Okay, okay.
This is done in post processing. I just added a shadow to this edge. But if I wanted to add a shadow, 1 minute, let me show you the. You have to use something like this. So you have to use two black sheets
On the
to,
side.
yeah, on the side to get that particular black definition.
Okay, okay.
So bring two dark sheets which are basically closer. As you bring them closer, the darkness increases. As you take them away, darkness decreases. So you can give the definition exactly how much you want. So I'll show you in a plain glass. If you don't put those black sheets, you don't get this definition. Let me.
Okay, okay.
You don't
okay.
get this definition.
Okay, got it, got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it.
Any other questions?
If you go back to that initial setup that you showed, where you had a light stand and
Yeah.
a kind of a board mounted on that. So how was this board mounted on the light stand? You made so this particular sheet, how was it mounted on the light stand?
Yeah. You see, you take you can easily get it on the in the market a metal plate called wall plate. In any hardware shop you can go and you can get this wall plate, and all you need to do is weld a small nut so that it fits into the light stand's top top screw, whichever screw where you are mounting your lights.
Okay,
See,
got it.
go to the top of the light stand and you see that small pivot like stuff is there. So that's basically fitted. So this is a metal plate, that's all, just a metal plate which is welded. Okay, on top of this I put a acrylic sheet. This is 1 feet by 1 feet acrylic sheet you get. You can get black acrylic sheet or a white acrylic sheet depending on what you want. So black acrylic will reflect better than a white acrylic. This is a black acrylic. Because of the light, it is looking white, but it's a black acrylic. You can also make any other this thing. The advantage of this is you can use a regular light stand itself, or you can have your own full setup. There are people who buy 3 acrylic sheets, one acrylic sheet which is glued to the top acrylic sheet, so that it's like a C. There's one sheet here, and one on the top, like a table, thick like a table. Okay. So that particular thing can be kept on a regular table, and in fact you can light it from below. That is another advantage. So if you have a white table, you can light that particular sheet from below, and you can get much more interesting results because you can make this whole bottle as though it's floating. But this is a very simple setup which everybody can do. That's why I went for this particular. You need to have at least 2 lights. You can do with 1 light, but I suggest have at least 2 lights. You need not have sophisticated TTL and all those type of lights. Just any manual light is more than enough. It has to trigger from your camera. That's all. That's more than enough. Even the cheapest flashes are good enough to get good results. Now, if you don't have flashes, and this is what it will end up. A glass will look like this. A glass photograph where glass is almost disappearing. Yeah. Any other questions? Let me go through the chat again and just see this.
To focus stack also, sir?
No, not in this. No, not in this case. Product photography focus stacking is not required because you are far off. You're not very close, and you keep at about f8 or f11 as your aperture, and you have plenty of light because of the flash. So focus stacking is not required. And in fact, if you have a deep depth of field, it looks ugly because once the screen starts showing off, then you'll have a problem. So in this case, the distance, probably it was around 10 feet. from the camera to the bottle. So at 10 feet, the bottle was in focus and whole of the bottle was in focus. But if you are planning to do a minute close-up photograph, say watch photography or something like that, then probably you can do a focus stacking box. Okay, so your question, product box in the sense you're talking about, white box with all four sides, that sort of box. No, the glass photography cannot be done in that sort of situation. You'll have a reflection all around. You have to understand the concept of glass photography, which is totally different from photographing something like a product for Amazon or something. So product boxes are they'll give you a bad reflection all around. They don't give you exactly what you're looking for. Part that's basically how to shoot any glass as such. So this is bonus. It just started with a bottle and now we'll go to glass. Girish, welcome. So now the following photographs which I've used are from a book. Basically, I tried to recreate them for my own study. And so this is a book which I'll refer it later. Light, Science and Magic. Okay, this is a sort of a Bible for anybody who wants to do any type of photography using light, not just glass. It can be used for metal, it can be used for portrait, it can be used for everything as such. So I'll give you that reference later. So this is this from that particular book. So I'll be just briefly skimming through the whole ideas. I advise you, all of you, to at least go through that particular book. It's worthwhile as a photographer to learn that book thoroughly, to basically learn anything about light. Okay. So this is the book. This is the latest edition which is available in the market. Light, Science, Magic.
Thank you, sir.
So so if you don't add any light and put a glass in front of a screen, this is what you're going to get. So basically it's a totally useless glass photograph, because glass is transparent. So the only way you can show the glass is basically showing the outline of the glass, because when you pass a light through the glass, it just passes through. So without outline like this, the glass looks totally useless. So how do you get an outline? Outline is not created by the glass. It is created by light which you stop by entering into the glass. Now, there is a concept called what's called a family of angles. I'm not going to go through that because that's another topic itself. So if you read the book, you'll understand what is called a family of angles. Family of angles is something like this. For a glass, all the light which hits a particular subject comes into the camera. So how much of area of a different light which is falling on this glass are basically coming in. This is a sort of a bird's eye view of the subject. Here is a glass and this is a camera. And when the camera sees everything but from here to here, from this L to this L, the camera sees. But it doesn't see this portion behind this. That is between this line and this line. The camera doesn't see because the glass is there. So to shoot glass, there are two methods. One is called dark on bright and bright on dark. So one is called bright field, another is called dark field. So how do you see the bright field? So this is the example of a bright field photography. So in bright field, let's say that you have an opaque background. not a translucent like the sheet, you have an opaque background. So then you put the light in front, not exactly the light, right at the either at the bottom or on the top, so that it hits this particular background exactly from here to here. And beyond that, there should be no light coming. That in meanings there should not be any light here. So this area will become dark. This is dark. This is dark. Only the area which is the background, that is bright. So this is if it is an opaque background. So you put a glass subject, something like this, and you photograph from here, and then you'll get a bright field object. I'll give you an example later. Suppose you don't have an opaque background, you can also use a transparent background. So this is the example of a transparent background, like the sheet what I put. That's the example of the behind the bottle when I shot it. That is that particular background, and the light. And light should be not a pointed source of light, it should be a broader source of light. So broad source of light which covers from this end of the translucent background to this end of the translucent background without creating darker patches. Then you should have a dark background or no background. That means your sheet should stop only here, not beyond that. Now, if you don't have a sheet which is exactly like that, what you can do is you can bring now. So this is should I go back to the older slide?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me start again. Now, this is the example of a bright field photograph. So how do you get this bright field photograph? See, the background is brightly lit. There is two dark areas. These are basically dark sheets which are kept. This is a translucent sheet. The light is behind this. So this is how we get it. So this is a translucent sheet and there is a large source of light. There is either nothing there. That means this area will be dark, or you can put a black flag. Black flag is any black material which is stiff, which cuts light. Basically, black flag you can put so that you can reduce it. Now, this is a visible background, which is a white one. It can be white, it can be different color also. So, but it is translucent. It is basically passing the light from this source of light to the glass and then to the camera. Now, what camera should do is, camera should be in such a way that it should get only from here to here and capture. Not beyond that, not shorter than that. So your focal length has to be adjusted so that you get exactly your translucent area. The field of view should be exactly like this. So if you have a little bit of more area, you bring that black sheet or black card so that your field of view is exactly into that. You can bring the card closer and make field of view smaller, but making a field of view larger will cause problems. Now, let's say that if you don't have a translucent background, then you can go for an opaque background. The concept is same. The light is not really in the way. It is slightly off the way so that, when you're shooting the object, the light is not visible to the camera. It is at the lower angle, but it will cause the light on the opaque background. The rest of the setting is same. Both of these are bright field photographs. Now, this is the dark field photograph. The difference here is that the background is dark. And how do you get this photograph? Here, there is a piece of dark area and the light is in the back. So similar stuff like the diffusion material is there, but the center area, which is the field of view of the camera, is occupied now with the dark card. So the light is broader, so light passes through this and then it illuminates your glass. But since it is away from the family of angles, the light is not visible as a shiny object on the glass. That is the whole concept. Once you understand what is family angles by going through the book, you'll be able to make out how exactly you can do that. So this is how you do dark field. You can also change the dark field in another way. For example, if you have a white background on the back, okay, you put a black card behind the light so that the light falls on the white background and then brings it back into the glass. So the glass is illuminated and then you get it. So that's what you get. Now the difference here is because this light is the one which is reflected on the edges of the glass, you have whiter edges and blacker background. So whiter edges and blacker background. Now, if you want to show the glass with more surfaces, see the difference here? This glass did not show you the surface of the light. So you can add extra light from the front with the diffusion material in front of it. How do you do that? Without cheating on the angles. So because I wanted to show this, this is curved, and this is curved. You can do that using, that's a glass, that's another light, and that light will be adding a diffusion material and your camera is shooting. So that will give you that particular light on the front. This is not edge light. This is the light which came from another light. So say it's a second light. You can also add a window there. This basically is not a real window. What I did was I used a softbox and put black tape across the softbox so that it mimics the window. Now you might say that you won't have one more light on the back. So how do you get that light? This is again a dark field photograph, but with that particular light. So here what I have done is I have put a light at the back, which basically illuminates that particular area. So this doesn't, so this is sort of a mixture of a dark field and a bright field, which are added together. Now remember, dark field is very tough to do in a room which is brightly lit. So if your room is brightly lit, you will end up in a flare all around. So you have to have a very darkish room with everything covered. And if you don't have that sort of setup, you can create your own sort of a cave with lot of cardboard sheets and then start shooting. Otherwise, you'll end up in flare from all the sides. There is also another way of, I was talking earlier about how to get rid of the horizon. So when I have a sheet, the horizon is visible. So if you put a sheet something like this, which are called, I think there's a name for these sort of sheets which we use both in portrait and full body setup, edgeless sheet. So that sheet can be put in front of the glass and the results will be like this. So the background will be totally gone. So there is one more concept. For example, you want to shoot a beer. Okay. Now, how do you shoot this sort of beer? And if you give somebody a product photograph of a beer which looks like this, it's ugly, it's brown. That particular liquid, I don't think anybody will drink. So you basically have to make it brighter. So how do you make it brighter? The trick is, first, keep the beer on the background you want, have a secondary background, and on top of that, remove your camera and put a torchlight. So with the torchlight, you shine the light on the beer bottle and then you get the shadow. So this shadow is now traced. So use a marker pen and trace the shadow, cut it out and create a bright silvery or metal sheet or a silver sheet. You cut it out exactly to that shape of the beer bottle. If you have a handle, you can also mark it to that particular thing and then put a light on top. So this light will be shining that particular metal sheet and the results will be like this. Now, all these tricks are in this particular book. I'm not really marketing the book, but basically that has become my Bible. So in case you are interested, you get either a PDF or a book from somewhere, and you'll really enjoy it. So now I'm open for questions. Any doubts? Any questions? Please ask. Okay, there's some chat questions. Let's see. Beer mug shot. Where is the camera? The camera is. Let me show you again. So this is where. One minute. Let me go back to annotations. Can you see the mouse? Yeah, this is where the camera supposed to be. So you do what is called a test light. So you remove the camera, put a light there on the beer bottle, and then do a marking. Once you do a marking, replace that with the silver foil and keep it there. So for that, the light will be from the top. This light will be from the top. So this light will be shining this silver foil, and then you replace the torch with the camera and shoot. So from this, it will become this.
So, sir, if you just go back to diagram, I have a question. Okay. So, if you're placing the silver foil behind the mug, right?
Yeah,
Why isn't the silver foil visible to the camera?
It is not visible because that is a shadow of the particular. So your camera is only seeing the front of the silver foil and not the back. So the silver foil is at an angle. So your camera is not seeing that. See, whatever the torchlight sees is exactly what the camera sees.
Okay.
So the camera's angle will be visible only here, like this. So your sheet is only cutting short here. It's not here. So you have to basically, you have to find out, see, when you put the light, the shadow of that particular light is on this sheet. So you are tracing the shadow. So the shadow is exactly to the size of the light. Light is a point source, and the torch light is a point source, and then it expands. So your camera is also a point source of capture. So it will be exactly taking this particular light to this particular area. So you do a trial and error and then see. Because when I explain it, it look strange, but when you do a trial and error, it exactly comes. And this is how we, in the product photography, we do trace out objects. So basically use a torchlight. You have to have a sort of a pointed torchlight, not one of those with the, which has, floodlight everywhere. So pointed torchlight. So that's the one which is very useful. Those LED lights are fantastic. Yeah. Any other question? You can unmute using a space bar if you are using computers. If you are using mobile, I don't know how to do it. Silver foil, cut the shape of the mug. Yes, exactly, Shajin.
Sir, it is the shape of the shadow of the mug.
Yeah, shape of the shadow of the mug, not shape of the mug. So if you have a beer bottle there, it will be shadow of the beer bottle. And it is at an angle. Remember, you have to keep another object which is there to create that particular angle. See, this sheet is a secondary background. What you are seeing behind the mug is a secondary background. This one. This is not the blue background, which is what you are going to shoot it. This is just for the sake of a shadow. You are keeping that. Fine. Shajin, silver foil cut in the shape of the mug. No, wrong. It has to be cut in the shape of the shadow of the mug. I think it's little tough for people to understand. I request you to go through again.
If you try to visualize, it's becoming. Maybe if you try, it will on the spot.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's better shown in a workshop, practically.
That's what I was trying to say, Doctor. That the product workshop is 2 days.
Yes.
It's not 1 day.
Yeah, I'm starting off. 9 to 6. I'm starting offline workshops from next month. Despite all the corona stuff which is going on, there are a lot of people who are asking for an offline workshop. Probably I'll be pioneer in doing offline, actual hand-to-hand workshops.
No quarantine, right? Before and after.
No quarantine before and after. But it will be only from next month, depending on how the government permits. We'll bathe each person in sanitizer before and after the workshop.
In alcohol.
Doctor, I think the best part of the product photography is that you require two sources of lights, a flash rather.
Yeah.
Both of them has to be flash, cannot be LED lights.
Yeah.
And
cannot be LED lights.
And the flash which is at the back should have a larger diffuser or reflector. Like it should be a cone, a circle shaped reflector on it.
Not really needed. You can keep that light far away so that it puts a large amount of broader light on the sheet. So in my case, which I showed earlier, what I did was I put a large sheet of plastic in front. So I placed the flash far away in the sense it was about 2 feet away from the sheet, not close to the sheet. So when you go close to the sheet, the circle of light which falls on the sheet is smaller. As you take the light away from you have to raise the power. In my case, I was putting it in full power. Then depending on the setting, I adjusted it later. So initially put it in full power, take the light away. So as you take the light away, it becomes a broader source of light as far as that sheet is concerned.
Yeah, that's one for the backlight. That's the flash strobe which is at the back.
Correct.
The second light which we are using, when you take it from the top, you don't require any diffuser.
No, nothing.
Take a shot without the diffuser for the cap, just for the cap. Then put a diffuser and then take a shot to get the label also in.
Label as well as the neck of the bottle. Neck of the bottle.
Neck of the bottle.
Below the cap, there is that conical shape of the bottle, which needs a light which is broader in shape to illuminate. So that's where that particular neck comes in.
And because little bit of light will get diffused from the back side, because you have a white background at the back, you require to cover the back of the flash so that no light spills over to the background.
Correct, because I was using a bare bulb flash, so it's very powerful. So that flash will spill on the back. So to prevent that, I was flagging it with the black card. You want? So I can show the slide again so that I can get it refreshed.
I'm just trying to because I attended a workshop also. So I'm just trying to make sure people get it like this is how it is.
Correctly.
And then you put all this photo together in the Photoshop, and then that's at the end of the photo, bottle photograph.
Then mask whatever area which you don't want.
Yeah.
Mask it out, and then get the final picture, which has got a part of the body, a part of the neck, part of the shoulder, part of the label, and all of them together comes out as a final picture. So for that to happen, your bottle should not move, your camera should not move.
Correct. So there is only one part. If after doing this also, on the label, if you have golden or reflective parts, you require 2 sheets of paper clipped together and hung on the neck of the bottle. Just on the bottle.
Correct.
And take one more shot with all the flash from the top with the diffuser, the back flash, and then the reflective part of the labels also will be seen.
Same, yeah. And if it is not seen, you again move that particular white sheet of paper to another direction, take some more, so that you can have all the areas which are shiny are visible.
Okay. Now you said it is not stacked in Photoshop. When you composite this photograph, it's called composite, or what is it called?
Yeah, it's called composite. Basically, it's layer composite. So multiple layers, and I take best of each of the layer and then join together and make a final picture.
Okay. So I think bottle photography is covered. Any questions, please throw.
Yeah, Nitin here. All the sheets that the translucent sheets that you showed us, right? So all those were mounted on a backdrop stand or something like that, or how do you?
This was basically clipped on the. I have a backdrop stand which is fixed to the wall.
Okay.
So it's basically something like a curtain rod. Think of a curtain rod.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay, and this particular sheet, it's a long sheet. It's a 12 feet by 12 feet sheet. It's a square sheet basically.
Okay.
So I clipped it to the curtain rod at the top. So it's just flowing from top to bottom.
Got it. And for the background lighting effect, you do it from the front and then bounce it back, right? Because you cannot keep anything behind that.
No, I have a space behind that. It's not close to the wall. It's about 3 feet away from the wall.
Got it. Okay.
So I have 3 feet. Yeah, it's like a shower curtain. You can in fact use a shower curtain which doesn't have a design.
Got it.
Plastic shower curtain also is quite good. Silk material you get, that's also quite good. You can get one of those Kerala Mundu material. Make sure that the silver edge sheets are not there. The edge, they have one silver border is there. Yeah, that you chop it off and then.
So the cloth that we use for portrait photography as a backdrop, that can be used, right?
Yeah, that can be used. White cloth for portrait photography. You can, if you have that fine one, you can also use that center one diffuser in the fine one. Fine one reflector. Fine one basically has a green and so many other colors with that.
So just one more question, Niranjan here.
Tell me.
At the back, in your backdrop, is that all your kit?
No. This is a fake virtual background. So, but those few of the cameras I had earlier, I don't have now. I've lost all the older ones. Sold it, in fact. Now it feels like it is a mistake. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
No, initially, tell me.
Yeah. Now, coming back to the glass photography, there are one thing which requires to be, it is a 300-page book, Magic of Lights. And after 2 months, I have reached only 75 pages, page 75. So it's a quite a very progressive book. If you read through it, you will understand. So now, when just to make it little easier for people, when what you have shown as a glass photography, there are two concepts. One is the dark mode. One is the light mode.
Light mode, yes.
So the dark mode is where the background is dark, and in the light mode where the background is white, and the difference is in the dark mode the rim is white, and in the bright mode rim is black. The rim is black. Now, how do you get this? Quite simple. Within the angle, if you are using the, I'll start with the white mode first, or the bright mode. Now, how do you get that? Is basically you ensure your the light is coming just in your frame of view. Field of view. Anything beyond the field of view has to be non-reflective or a background.
Yes, you have to block it off.
Yeah. If you do that, then you get the white bottle or glass with the dark edge.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do it in the dark mode, you have to reverse it. You have to use a very dark background at the back of the glass and ensure there is a pilferage of light from the edge. That is, the edges are open so that the light comes from the behind the dark background.
Yeah, but they are not coming out directly. There should be a diffusion material which is bringing out the light.
Correct. So this is the two modes of glass photography.
Yes.
So, and suppose you want to show the curvature of the glass, then you require one more light, which is coming at a 90-degree angle to the camera.
No, not 90-degree angle to the camera. It can be at any angle where you want to show the curvature of the light. It can be 90,
So-
it can be 60, it can be 45, depending on how you want.
With respect to the camera, the angle is from the camera to
Yeah.
the light, and that light has to be diffused. And
Yes.
softer the diffusion, it is. If you use a soft box, it will be much easier. A soft
Yes.
box with the diffuser will make it much more enhanced.
Much.
Then
Yes.
it's a very light background.
So many a times we'd use a double diffuser. We have a soft box and in front of that put another diffuser.
So that will give you the curvature of the glass.
Glass.
Now,
yes.
the curvature of the glass. So that's the only two tricks. Like you have a light at the back,
Yes.
again a flash strobe,
Hmm.
and then you have a light which is coming from the angle, like 60, 30, whatever angle you want to show the curvature.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's it. Now the key here is not on the light. It is the key here is on how you set up the background,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
within the field of view.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the two tricks which you use
Yes.
for glass and thing. And Doctor, from the product photography workshop, to show the rim of the glass,
Hmm.
you have to angle the camera a little up, right? I mean, that's what you told us.
No, remove the glass basically because of that black flag on both sides. That is the one which gave that black this thing. And then a bottle, glass itself, if you don't show the rim, it looks as though the glass doesn't have inner area.
Can you
So
show it
that's
on the
why-
slide?
Yeah, I'll show you the slide. 1 minute.
Sorry, guys, I'm asking the question because I attended the workshop, so I know because of some things like
So see, let me get that. So this line is basically created because of a dark flag here and dark flag here. So if I bring the dark flag closer, this line will become thicker, like what has happened in this particular photograph. See, this has become thicker. This is basically, I brought it very closer. Now, if I don't have this upper rim, then this bottle, this glass does not look like a glass. So I have to make sure my camera is at that particular angle so that I can see the rim either a little bit of, that two curves, not single curve, not single line.
okay. Now coming to the third aspect, which to make the background seamless, you require to have what's called the background cloth, which is a full cloth.
Yeah.
So if you use the background, yeah. Now if you use the curved cloth, now you will not have a break between the background and the glass.
Yeah, the
So,
horizon is lost.
Horizon is lost.
Yeah.
The fourth point which was there, that when you are taking a liquid in a glass, and if you want the color of the liquid to really shine out, you should replace the camera with a pointed source of light, a torch, a bright torch, and the mirror, the shadow which is casted on the secondary background has to be replaced with the foil or a silvery material cut in that same shape.
Yeah.
What will happen
And
is
this is another secondary light, basically.
Yeah.
For that.
You have to put a secondary light so it reflects from the silver background
Foil.
which is stuck now and into the liquid which is there in the glass.
Yeah, and remember this secondary light has to be flagged off so that it doesn't spill the light anywhere else. So this needs to have what's called a barn door. We call it a barn door. Basically, you restrict it to exactly what particular shape you want. You can also put one sort of rolled out black sheet around the light so that it just illuminates just that foil what you have kept it at the back.
This doesn't require any diffuser, right?
No diffuse. This is a bare light. Bare.
So either a barn door or a white or a black paper, we can just roll it. And put it right.
Yeah. You can hold it, and this is what I usually do. That is just hold a piece of see something like this. The flash is here. Put a piece of black cardboard on both sides. that will act as a barn door. So here it's only one side, because this is what I was using for this purpose. Because I didn't wanted this flash to spill on the back. They just wanted to flash directly on this.
A barn door or a snoot is also fine, right?
Yeah, snoot is also fine. Snoot is also fine. That also will do. This is that silvery color which basically comes from. So if this paper sheet doesn't work properly, you take one shot, then again crumple this paper sheet and change the angle of this sheet so that it covers most of the thing. But still you have one small area right at the front which you will miss. That's very difficult to do it. You can do it if you have a round cage all around and your camera is poking into that particular cage and then taking a photograph. But other than that, it won't work. So most of the time that has to be done in post-processing. It's easy. You just take the clone from here and just add the clone there. Any questions?
One question, Doctor.
Yeah, sure.
When I was trying to do my practicals after attending the workshop, one thing I realized is to remove the label at the back of the bottle.
Oh yes.
Because sometimes they have that MRP.
For example, if you go to Heineken, it has got a sticker on both sides.
Yeah.
So in this case, we had removed the sticker on the back. That's why the light could easily pass through. The original Heineken has a background sticker. There is one printed version here, and then on the back there is that price and other stuff on the back. So that you have to remove it and just leave this name.
So Niranjan, again,
tell me.
The white background,
okay,
and the dark one. The dark one is in the line of the bottle, right? And the background is a little away from the bottle. They're not in the same line.
In which question you are talking?
This same picture.
Same picture, okay.
The dark black color sheet on the side, that's in the line of the bottle, right?
Yes. No, this is in this case what you are seeing now is just a frame. It's not. It's cut off. Okay. Actual bottle picture. 1 minute. Let me show you. See this one. This is what I was. Yeah. So this gives you that particular darker edge at the rim.
Yeah.
At the rim of the bottle.
So the black sheets on both the sides.
Yeah.
Or in the line of the bottle.
They are line of the bottle.
No.
Yeah, they are in the plane of the bottle. They are in the plane of the bottle.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
They are exactly in the plane of the bottle. Because what they do is they block this particular light coming in, and they cast a shadow on the bottle. So think of them as a casting a shadow. And if you want a broader shadow, you can angulate them so that they are at an angle, stopping a light which is coming from the back white sheet.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we have covered most of the points. So if you have any doubt, we can always discuss in the forum, in the WhatsApp group. Shall we call it a day?
Yeah, Doctor, I think we have done it.
Sure, sir.
Any chat questions? I think no, nothing. Right. I think thank you.
Thank you.
See you for the next webinar, probably next week.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.